This is in reference to Senate Resolution number 180 filed by Senator Erwin Tulfo, which directs the Senate Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations of Blue Ribbon Committee to investigate allegations that BIR personnel have been abusing letters of authority and mission orders as tools of harassment, corruption, and extortion rather than legitimate tax enforcement instruments. So I'd like to recognize the presence of our colleague, Senator J.B. Ejercito, and will be joined later by the Vice Chairman and the proponent of the resolution, Senator Erwin Tulfo, the Vice Chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. So with that, kindly acknowledge the presence of our guest, our resource persons.
The following resource persons are present from the Department of Finance and Assistant Secretary UV Mil Nina Asuncion, from the Bureau of Internal Revenue, Commissioner Charlito Martin Mendoza, Attorney Marisa Cabreros, Ms. Marisa Uy, Attorney Rufino Cantaros Jr., Mr. Luis Sixtus Esquivias, Attorney Dante Tan, Mr. Miguel Angelo Alfaro, Attorney Esther Roda Formoso, Mr. Francis Nabua, Mr. Ryan Calvin Morga, Mr. Romeo Ebdane Jr., Mr. Roberto Inocando, Mr. Arnel Cosinas, Attorney Christopher Agbayani, Attorney Aliasa Antig, former Commissioner Romeo Lumagi. That's all, Your Honor.
Meron ba mga bagong resource persons na hindi pa naka-oath?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, kindly
those who are
stand
here
up.
for the first time, kindly stand up. Kindly raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? For the record, everyone said yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's start with, I believe there are reforms instituted as a takeoff from the last hearing, no? Instituted by the new commissioner. So would you like to brief the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I prepared a short presentation, so with the kind indulgence of the Honorable Committee, may I be permitted to deliver my presentation? Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, honorable members of the committee, and to my fellow public servants. We are here to present the audit reforms we committed to implement. To briefly refresh the committee of the timeline, when the new leadership of the BIR and the DOF came in around mid-November, we were met with numerous complaints concerning letters of authority and the audits they triggered. Given the volume and seriousness of the concerns, the most prudent step at that time was to pause. Through RMC 107-2025, we suspended the issuance of LOAs, mission orders, and field audit activities. At the same time, we began the work of fixing the system. We created the Technical Working Group Review Committee on Assessment Integrity and Audit Reform to conduct a full review and to recommend a comprehensive reform strategy. We opened Tell the Commissioner at bir.gov.ph as a direct line to my office, so stakeholders could submit complaints and concrete recommendations. During the year-end meeting of the BIR's private multisectoral consultative body, the BIR PMSG, we called for industry input. And of course, we participated in the hearing of this committee where many of these issues were further discussed and clarified. Mr. Chair, the pause gave the TWG the opportunity to step back, examine the audit landscape, and design the reforms carefully. On January 21, in a formal consultation, we presented the proposed measures to the BIR PMSG. Their final recommendations were studied and incorporated into the final policy issuances. On January 27, the Bureau released Revenue Memorandum Circular 8-2026, which lifted the suspension of audit and field operations, together with the Revenue Memorandum Order 1-2026 that sets out the revised policies, controls, and procedures governing audits moving forward. Today, we are here to present those reforms to this honorable committee. The first reform, Mr. Chair, is the LOA Verifier, accessible through the BIR website via our chatbot Revi. This allows taxpayers to immediately confirm whether an LOA is valid. It protects them against fake audits, unauthorized inspections, and harassment. Now we move to the core of Revenue Memorandum Order 1-2026, which contains the structural audit reforms. The first provision clarifies the proper use of the mission order, the tax verification notice, and the letter of authority. By prescribing mandatory labels for these instruments, the Bureau provides taxpayers with explicit notice of the scope and limits of the authority being exercised. Kung ang hinihingi po ng isang revenue officer ay wala sa saklaw ng nakasaad sa audit instrument, may karapatan ang taxpayer na tumanggi. In this way, we protect due process and ensure that the extent of audit authority is disclosed upfront. The next reform is the Single Instance Audit Framework, which provides one consolidated LOA per taxpayer per taxable year. The audit becomes comprehensive, covering all tax types, including VAT. Sa ilalim po nito, wala nang sabay-sabay na audit, mas simple at mas maayos ang compliance dahil isang audit na lamang para sa isang taon at iisa ang pagsusumite ng mga documentary requirements. The next reform strengthens controls in audit selection through a risk-based, system-assisted approach. Under this framework, only taxpayers identified through anonymized, system-generated risk criteria may be subject to regular audit. Sa ilalim po nito, mawawala ang tinatawag na suki system kung saan may perception ng paulit-ulit na pagpili sa parehong taxpayer. Audit assignments are now anonymized. The identity of the taxpayer is concealed until the assignment process is completed. Para po itong raffle ng kaso sa korte, hindi po alam ang mga personalidad ng kaso hanggat hindi tapos ang proseso ng pag-a-assign. This reduces opportunities for harassment or undue influence and strengthens due process and public trust in a system that is data-driven and risk-based. Another key reform is the transfer and dissolution of audit task forces. All audit-related task forces are deemed concluded. Their assignment functions are now returned to regular BIR offices, where clear lines of supervision and accountability exist. For the RAF task force, existing LOAs are cancelled for transition purposes only. This will be replaced by new electronic LOAs to be issued through the National Investigation Division. For the other dissolved task forces, we are standardizing case handling. Fraud cases will be handled by the Revenue Investigation Division or the Regional Investigation Division or the National Investigation Division. Non-fraud cases will be consolidated into the regular audit stream under the RDOs or the Large Taxpayer Service. Ano po ang impact nito? First, a clearer point of contact. Taxpayers will deal with regular BIR offices, kaya mas defined ang accountability. Second, greater transparency. Case handling is lodged in identifiable offices, making actions easier to track and verify. Ikatlo, reduced risk of inconsistent treatment. Consolidation minimizes variations in audit approaches that may arise from multiple task forces. The next reform, Mr. Chair, is the abolition of the VAT audit section and the large taxpayers VAT audit unit. These units are now in the process of winding up. All ongoing cases must be organized and transferred to regular BIR offices by the end of April. At wala na pong bagong audit actions except those strictly necessary for the transition. Ang impact po nito ay una, clearer audit process. Regular BIR offices na ang hahawak ng audits. Ikalawa, no overlapping audits. With the cancellation and consolidation of prior LOAs, maiiwasan ang duplicate or conflicting actions. Ikatlo, more predictable case handling. We defined rules na mas madaling maintindihan ang proseso at timelines. The next reform, Mr. Chair, is the consolidation of pending ELAs, or Electronic Letters of Authority. Ito po ang para sa mga taxpayer na nakatanggap ng multiple LOAs covering the same taxable year. By default, all pending letters of authority for the same taxpayer and taxable year will be automatically merged into one. The consolidated letters of authority become the single continuing authority and the previous letters of authority are cancelled. For VAT cases, taxpayers are given a transition option. They may request non-consolidation through a written request filed not later than February 16. Those audits may run until the end of April, and by May, consolidation becomes mandatory. Ano po ang impact ng consolidation? Una, single audit authority. Isang letter of authority na lang per taxpayer per year kahit may pending multiple letters of authority. Ikalawa, less disruption. One team, one authority. Matatanggal ang paulit-ulit na dokumento at parallel assessments. Ikatlo, clearer audit management. Mas malinaw ang scope, timeline, at status ng audit. Let me now move to controls during the audit proper. Una, standardized audit checklist. Revenue officers must use the prescribed checklist under the RMO as the uniform set of documents to be requested. Any additional document must be relevant, necessary, justified, and recorded. Habang fina-finalize ang industry-specific versions, ito muna ang governing standard. Ikalawa, documentation of discussions. After the notice of discrepancy, minutes must be prepared and signed by both the taxpayer and the assigned BIR officers. And all communications must pass through official BIR channels. Ang impact, first, standardized and predictable requirements. Malinaw kung ano lamang ang maaaring hingin at protektado ang taxpayer laban sa arbitrary requests. Second, stronger due process and transparency. Documented ang exchanges, documented ang basihan, at hindi premature ang assessment. The next reforms on assessment rules and taxpayer safeguards. Una, malinaw ang status ng notice of discrepancy. It is not yet an assessment. Any assessment may arise only from issues that remain unresolved after the discussion process consistent with existing regulations. Ikalawa, handling of voluminous records. Taxpayers may submit documents physically to the BIR office, provide certified copies with originals required only for verification, or allow examination at their principal place of business. Ikatlo, due process protections. Revenue officers must not request irrelevant documents, must not go beyond authorized tax types or years, and must not exert undue pressure. All actions must be properly documented. Ano po ang impact nito? Mas malinaw at mas transparent ang assessments, recorded ang exchanges, at hindi maaaring madaliin o i-pressure ang taxpayer. At kasabay nito, reduced compliance burden with stronger safeguards, less disruption to business, with clearer limits on authority. On sanctions and accountability, any violation of audit rules, misuse of authority, or circumvention of safeguards will result in either administrative, civil, or criminal liability. Taxpayers may report complaints through our official channel at contact_us loa@bir.gov.ph. This reinforces the accountability of revenue officers. May malinaw na proseso at may malinaw na consequence kapag may paglihis. For revenue officers who violate the code of conduct, abuse their authority, or neglect their duties, accountability mechanisms will apply. At the same time, we are reinforcing the Revalida system, or the audit-the-auditor program, not only to address violations, but to serve as a continuing check on the quality, timeliness, and propriety of audit work. This strengthens audit discipline, tightens the review and approval of assessments, and ensures that standards are consistently met. Where irregularities are established, we will impose administrative sanctions and, when warranted, file the appropriate criminal cases. Finally, we want taxpayers to know that the Bureau is reachable. If there are concerns, complaints, or requests for verification, we encourage the public to use our official channels. For matters involving letters of authority, you may write directly to contact_us-loa@bir.gov.ph. You may also reach my office through telthecommissioner@bir.gov.ph. General concerns may be sent to contact us at bir.gov.ph, filed through the BIR e-complaint system, or courts through our website chatbot Revi. These platforms allow us to monitor issues, respond more quickly, and ensure that problems are acted upon. Honorable Chair, all of these audit reforms are part of our broader 5-point priority reform and legacy agenda, BIR DARES, which stand for digital and data transformation, audit reform and accountability, revenue collection and base protection, employee empowerment and welfare promotion, and service excellence and stakeholder engagement. Through DARES, we are contributing to the government's big, bold reforms to improve the ease of doing business and strengthen trust in government. And with these reforms, we assure the committee and the Filipino people the BIR audit system is being strengthened, standards are clear, and accountability is enforced. We also recognize that reform is not static. The resumption of audits under this framework is part of a phased and continuing process. As implementation proceeds, we will keep listening, monitor outcomes, and refine our measures where necessary. We welcome the continued guidance and support of this committee as we carry these reforms forward. Honorable Chair, this concludes our presentation. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Mendoza. Before I yield the floor to my colleagues, first, let me thank you personally for the reforms that you have instituted. But in fairness to the former BIR commissioners, one of whom is present here, I invited former Commissioner Kim Henares, but apparently she's not around. So we'd like to hear the comment of former Commissioner Lumagi. If you have some comments on the reforms being that were presented by the new commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning to the members of the committee. Well, first, my only comments are that I think the reforms made are comprehensive enough and addresses a lot of issues that surround the or apparent abuse of LOAs. I also agree specifically with the abolition of the VAT audit units because last year I was also supposed to abolish the VAT audit section and VAT audit units for this year. So that is one good development because it will absolve the taxpayers of the issuance of multiple LOAs. So that is really a necessary and a big help to all the taxpayers. And from I think the reforms cover again comprehensive enough from the procedure to the accountability. Kaya po maganda naman po yung mga reforms na nagawa. And hopefully, and ang pinakamaganda rin po dyan na narinig ko po na sinabi that they will still continue to listen to all suggestions as they implement the programs that are being put into place because importante po yung taxpayer engagement, and that is also why during my time po in-establish po natin yung multi-sectoral partnership agreement because we also really have to listen to the taxpayers. Kaya naman po maganda rin po yung magiging aksyon na pakikinggan, and marami pong channels where the taxpayers can contact the Bureau with respect to different issues. So Yun lang po. Maganda po yung reforms na nailatag po. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lumagi. Ang isang talagang key para maiwasan yung corruption, di ba, transparency. And obviously, yun yung thrust ng inyong reforms because yun nga, o yung taxpayer open sa public yung inyong website, no? Ang isang tanong ko, which I also asked yesterday, hindi ba nakalink ito sa egov.ph? Kasi yun ang alam ng mga kababayan natin, pag nagta-travel, doon agad pumupunta. Then from egov, hanap ka lang ng NGA, LGU, and so forth and so on. So I would suggest na instead of, parang standalone yung inyong website, i-link nyo na rin doon sa egov, no?
Yes, Mr.
Commissioner.
Yeah. Actually, nakalink na po, Mr. Chair.
Nakalink na? Yeah. When did you do it? Kasi kahapon parang hindi pa.
Link talaga.
So pag nagpunta sa egov for other purposes, pwede rin magpunta sa BIR website.
Yeah. Nakalink po sa website namin,
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Chair.
So ang isa pang key yung of course minimize or eliminate human intervention, di ba? Kasi it seems that napapunta kayo sa digitalization. Ilan yung naiwan na may human intervention pa, may human contact? Ilang percent?
As of now, Mr. Chair, the previously issued letters of authority that are still active at the time we suspended the audit is around 45,000 letters of authority. But these are subject to consolidation, Mr. Chair, unless the taxpayer requests otherwise.
So sa ngayon, sa issuance at saka yung pagpirma sa LOAs, ilan na lang yung authorized?
Ngayon po ang
Kasi ang una narinig ko, ikaw na lang authorized na mag-sign or mag-issue ng LOA?
Yeah. Hindi po. Ngayon po, under the new rules, the auditees, the taxpayers to be audited will have to be chosen by the system. So the core criteria for choosing the taxpayers to be audited are already embedded in the system. So ito pong system ang maglalabas ng mga taxpayers na i-audit. And then, i-approve po ng Commissioner of Internal Revenue. At kapag in-approve ko po, ay ibababa po ito sa mga revenue regions or sa large taxpayer service. Anonymous pa po at that point for assignment of the auditors and the group supervisors. And then iaakyat po uli sa amin so that we will anonymize. And then saka po ibababa uli sa revenue regions for issuance of the letters of authority by the regional director or by the large taxpayer service. So dalawa na lang po generally ang makakapirma sa letter of authority, yung large taxpayer service ang magkakandak or yung revenue region or yung regional director po. Or kung merong fraud, yung National Investigation Division or yung RID depending on the threshold.
Kasi the first time I heard na only the commissioner is authorized to sign, sabi ko ma-overwhelmed. Wala nang gagawin yung commissioner kundi magpirma. Imagine, 45,000 ba yan?
Yun po ang currently
Yun ang
active
bilang,
open
di ba?
LAs namin.
So nagulat ako when I heard from Senator Tulfo, sabi niya, maganda yung reform kasi commissioner na lang magsasign. Wala nang gagawin yung commissioner kundi mag-sign ng LOA. So that's good kasi parang bar exams, hindi nyo alam kung sino yung examiner, hindi rin alam kung sino yung kukuha ng bar exams, di ba? Parang coded, sabi mo nga anonymous. So hindi magkakaalaman. So ano yung possible loophole na sinabi ko lang bar exam kasi kapapasa ng anak ko eh. Kaya anyway, yon. Ano na lang yung mga loopholes na pwede nyo makita?
Yung procedures, yung reforms namin ngayon, Mr. Chair, ito po ay kinonsider namin extensively yung comments and suggestions ng various stakeholders. And this was subjected also to public consultation. As much as possible, we did our best to come up with a policy that will measure up to what the public hopes to expect from us, which is transparency and predictability and fairness. I think ang bigger challenge po dito is the actual implementation. And that is where the challenge is now. We have to make sure that all our revenue regions, our unit in the national office should be able to implement this consistently and according to the letter of the rules at wala pong unnecessary exercise of discretion. So ang tututukan po namin dito sa mga darating na araw ay ang actual implementation.
We now yield the floor to first the Vice Chairman. And when I reclaim my time, ang tatanungin ko lang, ang focus ko lang doon sa audit process flow. No? Diyan ko gusto mag-focus, so kindly prepare for that. So Senator Irwin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Commissioner, ang tanong ho natin, pakipaliwanag ko. So, yung LOA po will be generated, automatic po yun from the system. Tapos pipirmahan nyo na, aprobahan nyo, and then ibababa nyo po. So, actually, ang system na po ang mamimili because may nakita siya na may deficiency doon sa pagbabayad ng tax ng isang business. Is that correct? To my
Tama po yun, Mr.
understanding?
Chair. Yung system na po ang pipili ng i-audit sapagkat may nakita siya doon sa mga records ng taxpayer na nasa system din po.
Tapos, aprobahan ninyo kung, and then ibababa sa regional office
Ibababa
ninyo?
po muna para mag-assign ng examiners at ng group supervisor and then iaakyat po sa amin to de-anonymize and then saka po ibababa uli para sa issuance na pagpirma ng letter of authority either ng regional director or ng assistant commissioner.
So doon pa lang ho sa pag-audit, maiwasan ho yung human intervention ng mga RDO kasi ito po ang pangunahing problema dati. Ang RDO lang po ang tumitingin, papasok po sa mga auditors niya. This time, yung system na po ang titingin kung sino po ang may problema, may questionableng pagbabayad ng buwis. Yung system po ang gagawa ng report tsaka po ibibigay ho sa inyo?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
All right. My next question, sir, is that we speak of audit reforms, pero yung question po, the harder question is, may nanagot po ba? Ang dami nating pinadalang LOA. Base po dito sa files po namin, doon sa LOA po na naipadala po dati, 1% lang ang nakaabot sa DOJ, ang nakasuhan. And then, wala, mas lesser pa po sa Court of Tax Appeals. Ang tanong ho natin dyan, may way forward din po ba kayo na para hindi na po maulit o sufficient itong reforms ninyo para maiwasan na po itong areglo, etc.?
Well, maliwanag po na nakalagay sa ating RMO na ang mga kawani ng BIR na hindi susunod sa mga bagong panuntunan ay mananagot, makakasuhan sila either administratively, civilly, or criminally. But meron din po kami mga ongoing investigations of BIR personnel. As of now ho, meron kaming 30 employees that are undergoing investigation. In fact, yung 25 po sa kanila ay meron ng formal charge.
Another question po before I yield the floor back to our chairman. Meron po bang kasama na reshuffle or transfer kasi po hindi po komportable ang ilang negosyante? May reforms nga po. Ang may nakarating ho sa akin, kinakabahan siya na baka isipin daw po ng RDO siya yung nagsumbong sa amin, nakarating sa amin. Meron po ba kayo ngayon na reshuffling ng mga tao na transfer yun dito, alisin, ilagay doon sa malayo para the usual process na baka balikan yung mga businessman po natin?
Meron na po tayong ilang personal movement na isinagawa noong mga nakaraang linggo at meron pa pong mga susunod na reshuffling.
Ongoing po itong reshuffling po ninyo?
Yeah. Ongoing po ito, Mr. Chair, at meron po mga susunod pa na personal movement.
Meron din po ba kayong move na i-dismiss sa serbisyo yung talagang sobra yung reklamo na? Baka, then, syempre, after due process,
Yeah.
meron din po bang ganun ngayon kayong sinusundan?
Definitely po, Mr. Chair. Kung ang ebidensya ay magpapatunay na talagang may malaking kasalanan na nagawa na nangangahulugan na dapat siyang mabigyan ng parusang dismissal, i-dismiss po natin sila.
I reserve my other questions later, Mr. Chair, so I yield the floor back to you.
Senator JB.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Anyway, it's nice to know, to hear about the reforms that have been instituted by by the agency. In view of the numerous complaints from taxpayers and stakeholders regarding itong irregularities and inconsistencies in the conduct of tax audits in the past, the BIR already suspended its tax audit and ito pong issuance of the LOAs. Ang tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair, since the suspension of your tax audit, what have been the findings of the BIR, especially those revealed during the first hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee? Ano pa yung ibang findings, especially during the issues that were brought out during the Blue Ribbon hearings?
Mr. Chair, yun nga po, ilan po sa mga pangunahing findings namin is yung overlapping audits, multiple audits in a given taxable year, although covering different types of taxes. It becomes too difficult for the taxpayer to comply. So that is why we abolished the task forces, we abolished the VAT audit units, and we now consolidate the audit into just one letter of authority per taxpayer per taxable year, for a given taxable year. And then, yun nga po, we have to make sure na merong clear implementation of the guidelines, nasusunod po ang due process, nasusunod po ang karapatan ng taxpayer during the audit. Kaya sa atin pong bagong patakaran, each and every stage of the audit will have to be well documented. Yun pong discrepancy discussion ay kinakailangang maging meaningful at engaging between the taxpayer and our auditors. Hindi na maaaring hindi sila napapakinggan at hindi na e-evaluate ng tunay at extensively ang mga dokumentong isasubmit nila sa BIR. Kung kaya nga po kinakailawang may minutes ang discrepancy discussion at kinakailangang each and every stage of the audit would have to be properly documented. Kung ano man po ang findings, kung ano man po ang assessment, there has to be clear factual and legal basis para po maiwasan na yung speculation na bloated ang assessment, walang basihan ng assessment, napakataas ng initial assessment for some other motive. Yan po ang hopefully ma-address na ng bagong policies na inilabas natin.
Likewise, during the first Blue Ribbon Committee hearing regarding the abuse, ito pong issue ng weaponization of the LOAs, yung mga mga lumabas na issue, yung issuance of multiple LOAs that are being used, at least ngayon po ay we can see that a lot of issues that were brought up then were considered, of course, in the reforms that are being instituted. Ngayon po ay 1 LOA na lang per year. So bawal na talaga yung multiple LOA, and also yung the abolition of the task forces. Hopefully this will avoid confusion and overlapping, yung mga authority, tsaka na ano talaga to and likewise, can you
Senator JB, may I interject?
Yes.
Dati ba ilang years? Ngayon, one LOI per year sa isang taxpayer.
Ngayon po
Dati ba ilan?
Ngayon, before po kasi po pwedeng umabot sa 3 ang kanilang
year.
LOA given at
No, how many
particular
years?
taxable.
Yung how many years na nag-i-issue ng LOA?
Pwede pong ma-issuehan ng LOA up to 3 years pabalik.
3 years.
Kasi yun po ang standard.
Kasi ang prescriptive period ng LOA is 3 years, di
3
ba?
years po in general po. 3 years.
So parang nothing much has changed kung ginawa mo na lang na 1 LOA per year. Kasi kung nagpe-prescribe naman siya after 3 years, during the period of the issuance hanggang sa may assessment pa, effectively mga 2 years na rin yun at least, di ba?
Opo.
So parang ganun din.
Opo.
Kasi magpe-prescribe din.
Yes.
So anong reform meron doon? Na ginawa na lang 1 per year?
Before po kasi is umaabot sila ng 3 letters of authority sa isang taxable year. Meron silang VAT audit for the first semester, may VAT audit sila for the second semester, and then meron pa silang audit of all other internal revenue taxes other than VAT. So 3 po yun. Ngayon po, so kung 3 po ang kanilang audits, ongoing audits, 3 audit ang kinakaharap nila, 3 grupo ng BIR personnel ang kaharap nila at kausap nila, at tatlo-tatlong submission ng voluminous documents.
Thank
Dahil
you.
bagamat ibang audit naman po yun ay interrelated din yung issues. Ngayon po, since isang audit na lang, isa na lang ang kakausapin, isa na lang ang magkakandak ng audit at isang submission na lamang po ng
Yeah.
documents.
Thank you for the clarification. Senator JB.
Thank you. Likewise, ito pong we're interested doon sa nice to hear na meron tayong system generated na. So hindi na ito yung pwedeng projectin yung isang taxpayer, for example. So probably, Mr. Chair, if I know you have already explained it, siguro briefly kung ano pa yung features of this, paano nga yung so ang mag-identify na lang, system na lang. Kung mayroong discrepancy, lahat hindi na yung mga revenue officers, hindi na yung officials.
Yes po, yung system na po ang magsasabi, ang magluluwa noong pangalan ng mga taxpayers na dapat i-audit. Base rin sa record na nasa system doon po.
Senator JB, may I interject? Mr. Chair. So yung system po, pero pag lumabas sa system, dadaan pa po yata sa inyo. Tama po ba yung pagkaintindi
Yes po,
kanina? At
i-approve ko po.
Tsaka makapag-issue, ibababa nyo sa RD? O,
Sa revenue region po or sa large taxpayer service.
Tsaka makapag-issue ng LOA. Tama po.
Mag-a-assign po muna sila ng personnel na magkakandak ng audit for them dahil at that point po, anonymous pa, hindi pa nila ang alam ang identity ng taxpayer.
So dadaan po sa table ho ninyo yung generate system na i-generate na kailangan i-audit nitong ABC Corporation. Dadaan ho sa inyo yan kung sang-ayon kayo, hindi. Is that correct?
For final approval.
For final approval. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sen. JB, thank you.
Thank you. Siguro before we continue regarding this yung system, we're interested in that. At least malaman din ng tao na talagang this is the most important reform that has been instituted. Paano ba naging paano naabuso yung issuance ng LOA nun? Was it just the RDO level? Sila lang po pa nag-i-issue? Hanggang saang official ang pwedeng mag-issue? Kaya dumami, di ba? Meron pang ang issue, Mr. Chair, na mga fake LOAs, no? Na marami tayong complaints that may mga fake LOAs that were also being used for extortion and weaponization. Sige po, Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, meron pong various allegations, Allegations po of ng pang-aabuso, allegedly. So ang ilan ho na sinasabi nila is yun nga ho, suki system. Paulit-ulit na taxpayer ang na-audit for the given taxable year at pataas ng pataas ang assessment nila regardless allegedly of whether kung magkano ang income talaga na kinita nila for a given taxable year. And then another allegation is bloated assessments. Allegedly wala raw hong basihan yung mga initial assessments. So yun ho yung mga allegations ng mga taxpayers na hopefully po masusolve nitong bagong policy at sistema natin.
Senator JB, yung pati yung pag-authenticate, mas madali na ngayon, di ba? Dahil maiwasan yung mga fake LOAs.
Opo,
kasi nga, yung taxpayer mismo, yung public mismo, may verify,
Pupunta lang po sila sa website ng BIR at online po mabe-verify nila kung totoo, authorized yung LOA na in-issue sa kanila.
Alright. But ang sangkirin dito is information campaign. Kasi kung hindi rin alam ng public, lulukohin din sila ng mga salbahing BIR. Hindi rin nila alam kung paano mag-authenticate, di ba? So how much have you done to widely disseminate this information, yung mga reforms?
Yeah. Well, to the extent that we could po, Mr. Chair, dinisseminate po namin itong information na ito through social media, through other channels. At yun nga po, nakikiusap din kami sa aming mga private sector partners sa kanilang
Kailan yun ni-start ito ba? Itong nilaunch ito?
Nilift po namin ito noong yun hong lifting ng suspension was done last January 7. Itong lower verifier po.
Yung system generated.
Noong January 12 po namin inilabas ang revenue memorandum circular informing the public of this new feature
Kaya ako
of the
tinanong,
BIR
you know,
website.
and I can only speak for myself. Ngayon ko lang narinig, and I wonder if my colleagues here have known about this before today. Alam niyo ba ito?
Last week.
Even the staff siguro hindi nila alam. So kung hindi namin alam, siguro kulang yung dissemination.
Mas
And
i-intensify.
that's also important because kung hindi alam ng public, they are, susceptible to unscrupulous, not just BIR personnel, maski yung mga nagpapanggap na BIR, pwede silang kaldagin, di ba?
Opo.
I-harass.
Yes po, Mr. Chair. Rest assured po na itutuloy-tuloy pa po namin ang public information on this new LOA verifier. Although na-check po namin sa system at marami na rin po, significant na rin po ang numero ng mga gumamit ng system to verify their LOAs. The last time that was last week, mga 6,000 na po ang hits doon sa aming system. Meaning to say, 6,000 po ang nag-verify ng LOA nila doon sa system.
Out of how many taxpayers?
For now ho, meron tayong 45,000 existing active letters of authority.
Sa LOA lang.
Sa LOA po.
Okay. Thank you, Senator.
Mr.
Blake.
Chair, with the indulgence of Senator JB again. So, suggestion lang siguro, Commissioner, Mr. Chair. Siguro para to disseminate this information further, siguro po you have to talk to business associations, and then the media also. One of these days, you can do a press conference para talagang ma-disseminate po, makarating po, lalo sa social media. Ngayon naman po, pag nagpatawag ka ng press con, may kasama na rin po mga vloggers. So, you want to do that. And at the same time, yung mga business communities, organizations like Filipino-Chinese Chamber, etc., yung mga maliliit. And then the international community. Kaya nga po, nag-umpisa po itong hearing natin because nagreklamo na po yung dalawang ambassador na sobra na, pati po yung mga investors natin tinatamaan ng LOA. So kaya tayo nagpa-imbestiga. You might want to do that. Just a suggestion, Commissioner Mendoza. Thank you, Sir JB.
Gagawin po namin yan, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. So ngayon narinig natin yung bagong reforma na system generated na kung sino po yung i-audit, and at the same time it has to go through the commissioner's office. In the past, nasa RDO level at pababa. So maring hindi alam ng dating commissioner, yung mga nangyari. Pwedeng posible na because of the authority granted to them, talagang you can say that it was prone to abuse kasi nga hindi na mo monitor ng higher ups of the BIR officials. So right now, yun nga ang concern ni Senator Lacson, baka mamaya wala na hong oras kayo magpirma kung talagang ang commissioner mismo pipirma nung narinig namin. Pero I think meron na kayong sistema that you devised already. And tanong ko lang po, itong software o itong program that you are using now, sinimulan lang nyo ito after the Blue Ribbon hearing, and because sandali pa lang, ilang buwan pa lang, na it's not easy to make a program para maging bagay dito sa sistema. So kailan nyo sinimulan tong Commissioner Mendoza?
Yeah. Meron pong existing system actually. Nandoon po yung mga taxpayers' information. So in-enhance lamang po yung system by embedding the core criteria for the system to choose the taxpayers to be audited based on the information na nandoon na po, existing na po doon sa system.
So at least now, with this kind of system, we can be rest assured that hindi na at least malalaman na ng at least higher ups, unlike before, na pwede talagang maabuso kasi nga hindi alam to because of the authority granted with this system that was been instituted. I think for Commissioner Lumagi wants to say something.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification also, sinimulan po natin kasi itong audit selection program during my time as well. Dahil nga po, we recognize that yung suki-suki system, gusto po natin ma-eliminate po yun. That's why we started we also supported the automated selection process for selection ng kung sino po yung masasubject ng audit. And just for further clarification po, yung system po na yan, i-input po lahat dyan kasi meron pong RMO regarding sino-sino ba dapat ang ma-audit. May mga certain red flags po yan na naka-enumerate kapag pasok po kayo dyan sa criteria, yan po supposedly ang sinusunod ng mga RDOs. Hindi po dapat purely discretionary at kung sino-sino lang ang gusto nilang i-audit, ayan ang ma-audit. Meron pong issuance po yan na may mga criteria, tapos based sa submission ng financial statements during the year-end ng April, i-examine supposedly yan dapat para makita if may red flag ba talaga pasok doon sa inisyong issuance kung talaga bang dapat ma-audit itong mga taxpayers na to. So, kumbaga merong procedure po pero manual yung pagpili ng taxpayer kung sino yung ma-audit. And we recognized also na syempre baka yun nga po may abusong pwede mangyari dahil kunyari palalabasin na pasok siya doon sa criteria pero hindi naman. That's why we were gearing towards the automated selection process. So yung system po na yan, naka-feed po dyan yung RMO na criteria kung sino-sino ba dapat ang ma-audit. At based on doon sa pag-input ng mga criteria na to, yung system po yung pipili. Kaya lang since it's just the beginning, hindi po natin kayang fully implement po ito. That's why during my time, nag-implement po tayo gradually. Nung nagsimula po tayo at nag-mandate po tayo na 30% at least dapat automated selection. And as the years go by, pagka nakita natin na maganda na yung system and perfect and walang system error dahil alam naman po natin pagka systems ang pinag-uusapan, garbage in, garbage out. Kung hindi maganda yung information na nandyan, hindi rin magiging tama ang iluluwang i-issuehan ng LOA dahil hindi pa perfect yung system. That's why gradual yung nagiging implementation. And right now, I think naayos na naman po at 100% fully automated na po yung pag-select po ng mga taxpayers for audit. Yun na po, Mr. Chair, just for clarification on that.
So the system was in place already. So it was just enhanced, no? Kaya medyo mabilis. Tsaka at least na-implement na siguro yan because nagkaroon na ng awareness, no, doon sa mga nangyari. Siguro yung ano lang, Mr. Chair, no, kaya po ito pumutok, ika nga, sabi ko nga noon, nangyari kasi a lot of small and medium scale enterprises, yung mga kilala natin sa mga social gatherings, have been complaining, no, medyo marami-rami na they are subject to LOA, na multiple LOAs, ilang taon yun, na halos yun ang dumarating sa atin, na abuso. Ang problema, sabi ko nga, pag ang sabi nila, kapag nagkasundo doon sa kanilang babayaran, kaya ang problema, yung resibo, mas napakaliit yung pumapasok sa gobyerno. Kaya parang sabi ko nga dati, kung pakurot-kurot lang, nung huli dakma na no? Sa 1 milyon, halimbawa, 200,000 lang ang resibo. Medyo sobra naman yon. Ang mas nakakabahala dito, Mr. Chair, is that when the European Chamber, yung Japanese Chamber, and other investors started to complain already. And they were also subject to LOA, the weaponization, and also siguro pwede explain siguro ni Commissioner kung ano pa yung naging complaints ng mga foreign investors. No? I think it's a VAT refund, no? Another issue, kung pwede niyong briefly. Ang nakakalungkot po dito, in the last visit of our President to Japan, yung kanya pong state visit or working visit, naging part po ng bilateral talks. Ito pong abuse of the Japanese investors subject to abuse by our BIR, no? So dapat talaga ayusin natin to because, Mr. Chair, ngayon nga po, hirap na tayo sa foreign investments. We are losing to ASEAN neighbors, Vietnam, Thailand, and others dahil sa nangyayari sa atin. We really have to fix our system at pakita natin transparency. So, siguro briefly, Commissioner, did you consult ito pong nag-complaint ng mga European Chamber tungkol sa Japan, no? Kasi talagang naging subject ng bilateral talks. We really have to address this.
Yes po, Mr. Chair. In fact, even during the time na nasa Department of Finance pa po ako, nakikipag-usap kami sa mga various chambers of commerce. I think po yung pinanggagalingan ng concern ng mga multinational companies, ng mga various chambers of commerce, I think po specifically, ito yung RMC 5/2024 as supplemented by RMC 38-2024. Ito po yung cross-border services na offshoot po ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema doon sa ACES case. In fairness po sa Bureau of Internal Revenue, maliwanag naman po ang nakalagay doon sa RMC 38-2024 na ia-apply lamang yung ruling ng Korte Suprema kung ang facts ng case ay kahalintulad ng facts na nandoon po sa kaso na yon. Apparently ho, ang naging reklamo ng mga taxpayers, especially ng mga multinational companies, is kapag nakakita na ng cross-border payment or cross-border services, ina-apply na po kaagad yung ruling ng Supreme Court doon sa kaso na yun. At napakalalaking halaga po ang involved dito that apparently resulted to bloated assessments. Pero maliwanag naman po sa RMC, clear po yun na dapat nakabase doon sa ruling ng Supreme Court. Kaya nga po, ngayon po ay maglalabas na naman po kami ng panibagong Revenue Memorandum Circular, further clarifying RMC 38-2024. At during my command conference with the regional directors, at ito po ay uulitin ko na naman in my command conference with the revenue district officers, ang maliwanag ho na bili namin ay to make sure na kung ia-apply nila ang ruling na ito at magkakameron ng assessment based on that case, kinakailangang hindi ho enough na ilagay lang nila na RMC 5-2024, kinakailangan hong i-specify nila clearly at i-explain yung facts at yung basis kung bakit in-apply po nila yung kaso na yon. I think po, Mr. Chair, yun po ang pinanggagalingan ng reklamo ng mga multinational companies. Salamat po.
Thank you. And I hope that it will be addressed and clarified, no? Kasi I think we really need to send a signal, no, that we are yung policies natin consistent, no, and then we are addressing yung pong issue na abuse, no, with the reforms that have been instituted. As mentioned by our chair earlier, mas maganda because of the reforms that they have being instituted, we, as much as possible, bawasan yung human intervention, especially when targeting ito pong those taxpayers who are subject to audit, system generated as you mentioned, pero sa ilalim ng RMO 001-2020, may papayagan pa rin ang rekomendasyon ng Revenue District Office sa pagpili ng taxpayer sa pamagitan lamang ng written jurisdiction. So, written justification. So, ano ang accepted justification para sa mga ganitong kaso?
Pwede po kasing merong third-party information na ibinigay sa kanila. Na nagsasabing itong taxpayer na ito ay hindi nagbabayad ng tamang buwis. Yung system po natin, yung pag-analyze po ng system natin ay nakabase sa mga dokumento na nandun din po sa system. So kung yung dokumento po mismo ay fraudulent, yun nga po yung sinasabi ni Commissioner June kanina, na garbage in, garbage out. Ang i-analyze din kasi noong aming system ay yung information na nandun sa system. So kung yung document ho, yung returns na pinafile ng taxpayer ay hindi totoo, falsified, hindi ho magiging accurate din yung resulta nung paglabas ng analysis ng system. So possible ho na may mga third-party information na ibibigay sa aming mga regional directors. So ibibigay ho sa amin yon so we can analyze and see if dapat ba silang issuean din ng letter of authority. And at this point nga po, bago po yung sistema, we do not profess na foolproof po ito. Definitely, meron kaming makikitang mga problema as we go along that definitely we will address. So mas mabuti po na meron po tayong mga fallbacks na ganoon to address lang po kung sakaling merong problema doon sa sistema.
Meron concern ang ating chairman, yung standards daw. Meron ba clear?
Merong clear na standards dyan?
Ibibase din po doon sa core criteria na nakalagay din po doon sa RMO. Ibabangka din po namin yung information doon sa core criteria na nandun din po sa RMO 1-2026.
No, Commissioner, I don't know kung meron itong implication o kaya may violation sa Data Privacy Act. No? Why don't you start cross-referencing with the other agencies? SEC, for example, no? Para sa mga corporate entities. Then LRA para sa mga real estate properties. LTO para sa mga vehicles. I remember suggesting this during one DBCC hearing, when the economic managers were present. Pero parang ang sagot sa akin, baka may problema raw sa data privacy. I cannot relate. I cannot correlate yung relation between the two, no? Paano magbabalit sa... Kasi it's easier that way, ano? Kasi if say a taxpayer, nag-file siya ng income tax, meron kayong cross-referencing with the SEC. Makita nyo naman doon kung stockholder siya ng isang corporation. Meron kayong naka-cross-reference kayo sa LTO. Makita nyo kung tumama yung kanyang final na income tax doon sa kanyang properties na mga motor vehicles. LRA, doon sa kanyang mga real estate properties. Hindi ba mas effective yon? Anong nakita niyong legal problem o impediment in case you do that?
Yeah, actually po,
Ang
Mr.
dami
Chair.
niyong makokollect ng taxes.
Yeah, that's true po, Mr. Chair. In fact ho, marami ho kaming data sharing agreement with various agencies. And these agencies include the SEC, Land Registration
Yeah,
Authority,
LRA,
and several
LTO.
other. Ang kailangan lang po talaga namin ay talagang ma-utilize ito ng mabuti, ma-maximize po yung third-party information coming from them. Pero meron na po kaming legal framework. Meron na
Easily
po
mag-triple yung collection niyo.
Opo.
Will you do that?
Yes po. In fact ho, we have
Para
started...
may hesitation doon sa bosses mo, Commissioner.
Yeah, opo. In fact, we have started revisiting our existing data sharing agreements with various agencies at makikipag-usap din po ako sa kanila sa mga head po ng mga agencies na yon kung paano pa po namin ma-enhance at mapapabilis ang pag-request ng documents sa kanila. Pero insofar as the legal framework is concerned, nandun na po, meron po tayong existing data sharing agreements with various agencies.
Yes, Mr. Chair, to continue, kanina nabanggit niyo po yung tungkol sa system, no? Can you enumerate, Commissioner, what are the criterias that are in the system that would trigger audit or issuance of LOA? Briefly lang po para at least for the information of all the taxpayers.
Mr. Chair, for priority case, ito po yung mga criteria. Taxpayers with drastic decrease in reported sales or VAT payments, taxpayers with significant increase in exempt or zero-rated sales or revenues, discrepancy notices, taxpayers whose excess input tax carried forward in the VAT return of the succeeding quarter is different from the input tax reflected in the VAT return of the previous quarter, taxpayers whose VAT returns reflect substantial input taxes, such as when the total input taxes claimed exceed 75% of the total output tax, taxpayers with income tax due of less than 2% of gross sales or revenues, taxpayers filing percentage tax returns whose gross sales or receipts exceed the VAT threshold, taxpayers with substantial sales but reporting net loss, taxpayers who have been in operation for more than 5 years from inception and who have not yet been audited, taxpayers with increase in assets of more than 50% from the previous year but with reported net loss, taxpayers with claims for losses or damages due to natural calamities or those claiming inventory obsolescence, taxpayers deriving its revenue or income exclusively or substantially from its parent company or subsidiaries or affiliates, taxpayers claiming write-off of input tax as allowable deduction in its annual income tax returns, and taxpayers with share expenses and other interrelated charges being inputted by a parent company to its affiliates and likewise an affiliate to another affiliate in a conglomerate. Ito po mga core criteria po na ito, Mr. Chair, hindi naman po bago. In fact po, doon sa, like for example, doon sa revenue RMO 6-2023, karamihan po dyan ay nandun na rin po. At ito po ay sumusunod sa international standards po.
Thank you. Siguro just one more question before